The front door hits the frame so hard the pictures on the hallway wall rattle. Jason, what the hell is that sign doing in our yard? Laura's voice comes sharp. Hi. Already on the edge of panic. I keep my eyes on the same sentence I've been pretending to read for 10 minutes. The book's open, but the words are just black lines. Through the front window, I watched the metal stake go into the ground and watched the for sale sign sway in the breeze like a verdict. The house feels different now. Same beige walls, same rug that needs replacing, same TV on the stand. But the air is heavier, like a courtroom after everyone stands for the judge and sits back down, waiting for a sentence. She steps into the living room, breathing hard. She's still in her travel clothes, leggings, oversized sweatshirt, hair in a lazy bun that probably looked cute in a hotel mirror this morning. Now it just looks rushed, wrong. Jason, look at me. Her voice cracks on me. I turn the page of the book slowly, then finally lift my eyes. My chest is quiet. No shaking, no racing pulse. Just a flat, clean calm I hadn't felt in years. You see that? She jabs a finger toward the window. Why is there a for sale sign in our yard? I study her like she's a stranger who walked into the wrong house. Because, I say, keeping my voice level, the house is for sale. Her mouth falls open. It's not funny. What are you doing? We didn't talk about this. Take it down. I close the book, set it on the coffee table. The little thud it makes sounds final. I didn't put it there by myself, I told her. The court ordered the sale. It's part of our divorce. Silence. It's like someone hit mute on the whole world. Outside, the sign moves in the wind. Inside, Laura's face drains a shade lighter, then another. Her eyes search my face for the punchline. Divorce? She repeats, like it's a word she's only heard in movies. What are you talking about? We're not getting divorced. I lean back into the couch. Papers are filed. The judge signed an order to sell the house. Realtors already got the listing ready. I tilt my head toward the window. The sign just makes it official. She laughs once, short and ugly. No, you can't just decide that. You can't just sell our house. Jason, stop it. This is crazy. The thing is, I remember going crazy. Crazy is pacing the floor at midnight wondering why your wife's girls' trip comes with spotty reception and no details. Crazy is smelling a stranger's cologne on her hair and telling yourself it's nothing. This isn't crazy. This is paperwork. I didn't just decide. I say, you did your part. I did mine. The judge did his. Her eyes gloss over, but I watch closely. It's not heartbreak that hits first. It's fear. Calculating fear. House, money, lifestyle, all the things she thought were nailed down like that sign. Why would you do this? She whispers. I let a beat hang between us. The house feels like it's listening. Because we're done, Laura, I say. Have been for a long time. This, I nod toward the window, is just the first honest thing that's happened on this property in years. She shakes her head hard, like she can jolt herself awake. You can't just end a marriage like that. You can't just. You'd be surprised what you can do once you stop lying to yourself. Her jaw works like she's searching for a script that used to work on me. Tears, anger, guilt, sex, promises. Shuffle the deck, pull a card. But the trick's over. I already saw the wires. The clock on the wall ticks too loud. The afternoon light hits the dust on the TV. Somewhere down the street, a dog barks, and it feels a mile away. I stand up, not fast, not dramatic. Just a man stretching his back after sitting too long. My name's Jason Miller. I say, more to you than to her now. 44. I work for the Ohio Department of Transportation. Reflective vest, steel toe boots, coffee in a beat-up thermos that's older than half the guys on my crew. Laura stares like I've started speaking another language. I fix roads, I go on. I hold stop signs in the sun. I stand in ditches in January. I come home with salt in my hair and dust in my lungs. I pay my bills on time. I don't cheat. I don't hit. I don't scream. I nodded at the door and she tried to rip off the hinges. I let other people do that. I look back at the sign, white letters on red, swinging steady now. Before anybody judges that thing on the lawn, I say quietly, they need to understand the man who asked for it, and the marriage that rotted behind these walls long before the realtor showed up. Behind me, Laura says my name again, smaller this time. But this part isn't for her. It's for you. Because this is where the story really starts. Not with the slam of the door or the sign in the grass, but with the moment a man finally decides he believes what he sees more than what he's told. 5 years before the sign went in the lawn, my life looked pretty good from the outside. We closed on a modest 3-bedroom north of Columbus. Nothing special, nothing fancy. Just a straight little house on a quiet street where people still waved when they drove by. Patch of grass out front, just big enough to complain about mowing but not big enough to hire someone. A grill on the back patio. Folding chairs that left red lines on your thighs if you sat too long. I remember standing in the driveway that first night, keys in my hand, thinking, okay, this is it. You're a homeowner. You're a husband again. Try not to screw it up this time. Laura loved the house. 46, sharp as a razor, with that retail sales brightness she could turn on and off like a switch. She sold couches and coffee tables like other people sold Girl Scout cookies. Warm, chatty, a little flirt in the smile. All, let's make this space feel like you. She walked through every room with a measuring tape, already matching paint colors to throw pillows in her head. This is a good house for us, she said, and I believed her. Then there was Chloe, her daughter from her first marriage. 19 when I met her. All headphones, messy bun, and oversized hoodies. I didn't try to be her dad. I didn't want to, honestly. She already had one, even if he was mostly a last name on checks and the occasional awkward lunch. I found my lane. Rides when her car died, looking over leases before she signed, the guy who knew how to grill chicken and fix a leaky faucet. She'd drop by with laundry and stories about group projects and bad professors, and I'd nod along, throw in a dumb joke, keep the fridge stocked with the yogurt she liked. Thanks, Jason, she'd say on her way out, a basket of clean clothes on her hip. Text me when you get there, I'd say, because that's what you do when you care about someone you're not allowed to claim. On paper, it was solid. 2 incomes, decent cars, dinners that were half frozen pizza, half roast chicken when I felt ambitious. Weeknights where the biggest drama was whose show we were watching. Me packing my lunch for the next day, her scrolling on her phone at the table, Chloe chiming in from a stool at the counter when she was around. We had inside jokes. We had a routine. We had a Christmas photo on the mantle where everyone was smiling and no one was telling the truth about anything that mattered. From the sidewalk, you'd see a middle-class house with trimmed grass and a man pushing a mower in a faded ODNR t-shirt. You'd see a woman carrying in shopping bags, a college kid stopping by for Sunday dinner. You'd think they're fine. They made it. That's what normal looks like. Here's what I know now. The house, the job, the yard, all of that is just props. A marriage isn't drywall and paperwork. It's the honesty between the two people sleeping under the same roof. Ours looked good on paper. The rot didn't show up in the numbers. It showed up later, in the details that went missing, in the nights out that didn't quite add up, in the way "have fun, babe" started to taste like a lie on my tongue. But that came after. At the start, it was just a man, a woman, a stepdaughter, and a 3-bedroom that felt like a second chance. The cracks were there. I just hadn't learned how to look for them yet. Started as nothing. One Thursday, Laura came home from work dressed a little sharper than usual. Black jeans that actually fit, not the loose ones she wore on the sales floor. Heels instead of flats. Makeup blended cleaner, lipstick a shade darker. Extra perfume. Enough that it hit me before she turned the corner into the kitchen. She set her purse down, too casual. Hey, you mind if I go out with the girls from the store tonight? They're grabbing a few drinks downtown. I didn't even look up from the mail. Yeah, sure. Have fun. The last thing I ever wanted to be was that guy, the leash holder, the interrogator. My first marriage had its share of fights. I'd promised myself I'd never be the husband standing in the doorway demanding a full itinerary. So I reheated leftovers, flipped on the game, and scrolled my phone. Told myself this is what trust looks like. Grown adults having their own lives. She came back late. Not crazy late, but late enough the house felt different without her. Cheeks flushed, eyes bright, smelling like a bar, and something else. Cologne that wasn't mine. Something sharp and expensive. She laughed while she kicked her heels off. You should have seen this drunk guy hitting on all of us. Total idiot. Yeah, I asked, keeping my eyes on the TV. Oh my God. He wouldn't stop buying shots. She gave me just enough detail to sound real, not enough to actually say anything. No names, no bars, just downtown and the girls. There was a little voice inside me that circled those missing details with a red pen. I shoved it down. Next came the girls' weekend in Hocking Hills. Cabins, hot tubs, wineries, the whole script. She packed like a teenager, humming around the bedroom, tossing outfits on the bed. "You'll be okay without me?" she asked, wrapping her arms around my waist. "I'm not 5, I said. "Go. Have fun." The first night, she FaceTimed me, but it didn't match. The camera stayed tight on her face. I heard bar noise, loud music, but when I asked, "Where are you guys at?" she squinted like the name was on the ceiling. "Oh, I don't know, someplace near the cabin," she said. Too loud to talk. The call dropped a minute later. "Bad reception in the hills," she texted. When she came home, the recap was flat. No stories about her coworkers getting drunk, no funny waitress, no hiking trail that wrecked everyone's knees. Just it was nice and I'm tired. Laura was a detailed person. In furniture, it was fabrics, dimensions, delivery windows. At home, it was gossip, names, timelines. She remembered everything, until suddenly, about these trips, she remembered nothing. My gut twisted. Just a little. Just enough to notice. And then, like an idiot who wanted his life to stay simple, I twisted it right back into place and told myself what every man tells himself right before the truth blows his life apart. "Don't be paranoid," she said. "Girls. You either trust her or you don't." I thought it was strength, giving her the benefit of the doubt. Turned out it was just the warm-up act for how hard reality was about to hit. There's a difference between a bad feeling and proof. For a while, I lived on bad feelings. Another girls' weekend. Another last-minute shift change. More vague stories. More, you know how we are when we get together with nothing solid behind it. The reception was always bad. Batteries were always dying. She was always in the hot tub or about to hop in the shower. Meanwhile, my gut was pacing the house like a caged dog. One night, I'm on the couch. TV's on mute, some game I'm not watching. The house is dark except for that blue screen glow. Her text comes in, "Going to dinner with the girls. Might be late. Don't wait up." I stare at the heart for a long time. I don't want to be the jealous guy. I don't want to be the man who snoops, who digs, who turns into the villain in his own story. But I also don't want to be a fool. So I open Facebook. I start with the woman she says she's with. Coworkers I've met at Christmas parties. I pull up their profiles, scroll their photos. Normal stuff, kids' birthday cakes, husbands on couches, dogs, plates of food. Then I scroll back to the last real girls' trip they took months ago. Loud group selfies, matching drinks, captions full of inside jokes. I can practically hear their voices through the screen. That's what an actual girls' weekend looks like. Noise, names, proof. So I checked the dates from her recent weekends. The ones that felt wrong. On the nights she was supposedly out of town, one of her girls is tagged at her kid's basketball game in Columbus. Another posts a brunch photo with her husband. Another checks in at a local park. Same timestamps as Laura's texts. Headed to dinner with the girls now. Dinner with who? I start lining things up. Her messages on one side of the screen, their posts on the other. Texts from her saying, "We're at the cabin," while her friend uploads a video from her own living room. My stomach drops, but my hands go steady. It's like watching a bridge collapse in slow motion. You don't sprint onto it screaming. You just accept gravity. Right there on that couch with my phone in my hand, the story changes. My marriage stops being a hazy feeling I can't quite name and becomes a list of timestamps and lies. Social media doesn't love you. It doesn't hate you either. It just doesn't lie. People do. There's a point where you're not hurt yet, just tired of feeling stupid. One night I'm in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, staring at the gray creeping into my temples. I look like every other middle-aged guy in a reflective vest. Nothing special, nothing tragic. Just worn. And I realize if I can't look this man in the mirror and tell him I did everything I could to face the truth, then I'm the one betraying him. So I dry my hands, sit at the kitchen table, and open my laptop. The words feel dirty as I type them. How to catch a cheating spouse. Articles pop up. Lists of red flags, screenshots of texts, stories from men who sound way too much like me. Late nights. Vague explanations. Girls' trips that don't match anyone else's schedule. I scroll past the drama and the revenge fantasies until one word keeps repeating. Private investigator. Click. A couple hours later, I'm climbing a rattling iron staircase to a second-floor office in an old brick building downtown. Frosted glass on the door. Tom Reynolds Investigations. Tom's not what TV sells you. No trench coat. No dramatic lighting. Just a guy in his 50s with a low voice, a plain tie, and eyes that don't flinch. What can I do for you, Mr. Miller? He asks. I slide a small stack of photos across his desk. Laura, her car, the friends she claims to be with. I hand over a paper with her schedule, the usual excuses for being gone, the places she says she's staying. I don't want drama, I tell him. I want facts, whatever they are. He nods once. That's all I'll deal in. We set up a plan. He'll follow on certain nights, keep logs, take photos if there's anything to see. I walk down that iron staircase feeling halfway like a man and halfway like a traitor, but I know which one I'd rather be if it turns out I'm wrong. The first couple nights, his texts say the same thing. She went where she said she'd go. Came home after. A small, ugly part of me wonders if maybe I really am crazy. If I've wasted money and spit on trust because I couldn't handle a woman with a life. Then comes a Tuesday. My phone buzzes while I'm rinsing dishes. She's not going home, Tom writes. She just pulled into a hotel off the interstate. A second later, a photo comes through. Her car, unmistakable under a bright hotel sign. No girls, no cabin, just a room paid by the night. I stare at that picture until the edges blur. A few days later, I'm back in Tom's office. He slides a manila folder across the desk. It's thicker than I expected. Everything's in there, he says. Dates, times, locations, photos, video if you need it for court. I open it. There she is, Laura, standing too close to some guy in a parking lot, holding his arm, kissing him like she's done that 100 times. Different nights, different hotels, same lies. I wait for the explosion, the rage, the heartbreak. Instead, something else happens. A switch flips. I don't feel love dying. I feel it shutting off like a light in a room I've already walked out of. By the time I close that folder, my feelings for her aren't screaming. They're done, quiet, finished. And that calm, that's the moment I know I'm not going to beg, or bargain, or scream. I'm going to end this like a man who finally has the facts on his side. The night after I get the folder, Laura curls up against me in bed like nothing's changed. Her head on my chest, her hand on my stomach. The same woman I just watched on grainy hotel footage with another man. You're quiet, she murmurs. Long day, I tell her. I stare into the dark while she drifts off. I listen to her breathe and plan my exit. Not the Hollywood kind, the boring kind, the grown man kind. Pens, passwords, patience. Next week, I'm in a different office. No iron stairs this time. Bright lobby. Plants. Diplomas on the wall. Erin Bennett, attorney at law. She's mid-30s, efficient, no fake sympathy. I slid Tom's folder across a desk for the second time. She flips through the photos like she's reading a grocery list. No gasps, no head shakes. Just, how long has this been going on? And whose name is on the house? I answer, house in both our names. My income is higher. Her job is solid but not great. No kids together. She leans back. Okay. In this state, infidelity doesn't change the asset split much, but it can kill alimony. Judges don't like rewarding people for burning their marriages down. So what does that mean for me? Ask. It means, she says, she doesn't get to blow up your life and still get a paycheck for the privilege. From this point on, you do nothing dramatic with money. No big transfers. Don't touch retirement. And document every bill you pay. She gives me homework like a teacher. Open a new checking account in my name only. Redirect my paycheck. Call the credit card companies and remove her as an authorized user. Change the life insurance beneficiary from Laura to my sister. Print bank statements. Highlight every car payment I've made on the SUV she drives. So that's what my evenings become. Sitting at the kitchen table while she watches TV in the next room. I'm on the phone saying, yes, I'd like to update the account. And clicking through online forms, changing passwords one by one. I'm not shouting. I'm not slamming doors. I'm quietly cutting lines she thought were permanent. When Erin asks how it's going at our next meeting, I hand her a neat stack of printouts. Everything you asked for, I say. She smiles once, small. Good. Remember this, Jason, you're not cutting off kindness. You're cutting off access. I walk out of her office feeling something I haven't felt in a long time. Not happy. Not sad. Prepared. The war's already over in my head. Now it's just paperwork catching up. The night she handed me the final play, she thought it was just another lie. We were in the kitchen. She was rinsing a mug. Back to me, voice softer than usual. Hey, she said. You remember my friend a few hours away? The one going through that rough patch. The girls want to go stay with her for a few days. Just be there for her, you know? She turned, drying her hands, giving me that small, careful smile. Extra gentle, extra sweet. How long? I asked. For 5 days, tops. She stepped closer, slid her hands up my chest. You'll be okay? I hate leaving you alone that long. I could smell the same perfume from those girls' nights. Same act, new scene. I'll be fine, I said. Go help your friend. She hugged me tighter than usual, pressed her cheek into my shirt. You're a good man, Jason. You know that. She meant it like a line that would keep me in place. I heard it as confirmation I was doing the right thing. The morning she left, I carried her suitcase to the car, played the role one last time, opened the trunk, lifted it in, kissed her cheek. Drive safe, I said. Text you when I get there, she promised, like she always did and never really did. I watched her taillights disappear down the street, stood there until they were gone. Then I took out my phone and called Erin. I don't want to live in this house anymore, I told her. I don't want my name tied to it. What can we do? She didn't hesitate. We file a motion to force the sale of the marital home. Judges usually grant it when both names are on the deed and the marriage is clearly ending. Do it, I said. By the next day, she'd filed. 2 days after that, my phone buzzed with an email notification at lunch. I sat in the work truck, orange vest still on, and opened a PDF on my phone. Court header, case number, my name, Laura's name, and at the bottom, Judge Thompson's neat little signature ordering the property to be sold. The house wasn't our home anymore. Legally, it was just an asset to liquidate. Erin lined up a realtor, Megan Carter. Mid-40s, calm, clipboard in hand. She walked through the rooms with her tablet, eyes taking in square footage and light. Mind if I ask why you're selling? She said finally, standing in the living room. Divorce, I answered. Just that one word. She nodded. No prying. Just started talking comps, timelines, listing photos. 2 mornings later, a guy from her office showed up with the sign. I watched from behind the front window as he hammered the stake into the yard. 1, 2, 3 hits. Each thud sounded like a nail in the coffin of the life I thought I had. He straightened the sign. For sale in big, honest letters. By the time he drove off, I was already in the bedroom, pulling boxes from the closet. Her side stayed untouched. Mine didn't. While she was comforting a friend, I was packing up the only life that actually belonged to me, and setting the stage for the moment that sign would tell her the truth she'd never say out loud. The day she came back, the house was so quiet it hummed. I sat on the couch with a book in my hand and Tom's folder on the kitchen counter. TV off. Phone face down. The for sale sign out front catching the late afternoon light. I heard her car first. Gravel under tires. Trunk popping. Suitcase wheels bumping up the walkway. Then the front door opened. She stepped inside and froze. There's a particular silence when someone's brain slams into a fact it can't spin. That was the silence in my hallway as she stared out the window at the sign. The door slammed. Hard. Then her footsteps, fast and angry, into the living room. Jason, what is that sign doing in our yard? Same line as before, but now I let it hang in the air. I closed the book calmly and set it down. We're selling the house, I said. The court ordered it. Part of our divorce. She actually laughed. A high, disbelieving sound. Stop. That's not funny. What are you talking about? The papers are already filed, I said. You'll be served this week. Her smile died slow. No, you didn't. You, Jason, we're not getting divorced. We had a rough patch, okay? But I stood up. Sit down. She hesitated, then dropped onto the edge of the couch like it might bite. I walked to the kitchen, picked up the manila folder and brought it back. Set it on the coffee table between us. What's that? She asked, voice thinner now. Open it. She flipped it open. First page. Her in a hotel parking lot, hand on some guy's chest, mouths too close to argue with. Next page. Different night, different hotel, same man. Her fingers started to shake. This isn't what it looks like. I actually laughed. Not loud. Just one flat, tired sound. Laura, it's exactly what it looks like. It's not a mistake. It's a choice. One you made over and over. She pressed her hand to her mouth, tears spilling fast. Jason, please. We can go to counseling. I'll end it. I'll block him. Just don't do this. Don't throw us away. A year earlier, that would have hooked straight into my chest. Tonight, it hit and slid right off. I stepped back out of her reach. You threw it away when you started lying and kept taking my money and my time like it was owed. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your safety net. Her crying shifted. Less heartbreak, more panic. What about the house? What am I supposed to do? I can't afford. You're off my credit cards, I said calmly. You're off my life insurance. The judge will see 3 years of car payments I made on the SUV you drive. He'll decide what's fair. Her tears stopped almost on command. The fear in her eyes changed shape, from losing me to losing benefits. That was the moment I knew I was done feeling guilty. I'm not yelling, I told her. I'm not calling you names. I'm not fighting. I'm just finished. Outside, the for sale sign stood there, swinging gently in the breeze. Inside, for the first time in years, I wasn't. Cheaters hate 2 things more than anything: silence and facts. Word got out fast. Laura didn't waste time. Suddenly I was the cold, emotionally abusive husband in her version. Neglectful, distant, drove me into someone else's arms. People always love a story where the woman's the victim and the man's the villain. Fits easy. For a while I let it run. Let her talk. Let her spin. Then one night, I sat at my small kitchen table. New place, old thermos. Opened my laptop and called Tom. Can you send me everything digital? I asked. All the photos, the logs, dates, times. He did. I built a timeline. Clean. No yelling, no adjectives. Just dates, locations, screenshots of her texts lined up against hotel receipts and social media posts. Start to finish. Then I emailed it to my family, to a few mutual friends. I posted a redacted version online with one simple caption. Here's the truth. No more, no less. The reaction came in waves. Sudden silence from the loudest Laura defenders. A couple of awkward apologies from people who'd believed her first. Even one from her own brother. Didn't know it was like that, man. Sorry. Laura called, voice shaking with rage. You can't do this. I'll sue you for defamation. I almost smiled. Truth is a defense, Laura. My lawyer says hi. After that, she got quieter. The final hearing was in a beige courtroom that looked like every other government room I've ever been in. Fluorescent lights, scuffed benches, a flag in the corner. Judge Thompson up front, tired eyes, no patience for drama. Aaron laid it all out. The affair, the bills, the car I'd been paying for. Laura's attorney pushed for alimony, painting her as the wronged wife who'd lost her stability. The judge flipped through the file, looked over his glasses, and said, "Request for spousal support is denied." Just like that. Then he ordered her to reimburse me for half the car payments. Gavel. Case closed. Not with fireworks, just with the sound of wood on wood and a line on a piece of paper that said we were no longer anything to each other. The house was sold to a young couple expecting their first kid. I watched them measure the living room and argue about where the TV should go. Good for them. They were still in the stage where trust is assumed, not proven. I moved into a small one-bedroom near my job. Beige walls, old appliances, thin carpet, no memories soaked into the place. No ghosts, just quiet. My life got simple. Work, gym, fishing, long drives with the windows down. Beers with my buddy Mike where we talked about football and breaks and aging parents instead of lawyers and lies. A year later, an envelope showed up in my mailbox. Her handwriting on the front. I stood by the dumpster, opened it, and skimmed pages of apology explanations. I wasn't myself back then, and I'll always love you in some way. I read it once, then tore it into pieces small enough that no one could ever tape them back together and dropped them in with the trash. That part of my life was garbage. It belonged there. So here's what I know now, talking to you man to man. Love without trust is just a long con. Being loyal to someone who treats you like a backup plan isn't noble. It's self-betrayal. You're not a consolation prize. You're not an insurance policy. You're a man who gets one life and one spine. Don't waste either on someone who thinks both are theirs to spend. That cheap plastic for sale sign in my yard? It wasn't the end of my life as a husband. It was the first honest line in the story of the man I finally decided